She does everything. She loves to move. She loves to groove. She loves to love it.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Ask the Unicorn. I'm Ahura Z. This is Kazi.
Hello, this is today is February 4th, 2015, and what is this episode?
58.
8.
Okay, so episode 58. I hope you all have plenty of questions this evening. Remember, I will answer any question of a metaphysical, paranormal, mystical, or spiritual nature. However, there are two types of questions that I do not answer. One is whether or not someone's going to die, and the other is whether or not someone is cheating. If you want to deal with those questions, then you need to ask the people. Okay? Beyond that, anything is fair game. Now, I do realize that sometimes it takes a moment for you all to formulate your questions, and you may have something in mind. Just take your time. I'm very patient, and will answer all of your questions to the best of my ability. Fortunately, I am a natural telepath, and I'm also someone that has the ability to police the psychic or spiritual world. Now, many have asked me what it is that I do. What I am is called a psychic policeman. There's a difference between a psychic policeman and a police psychic. I do offer my services to law enforcement in any way, shape, and form possible, but I am not someone who works specifically with police to do things. Those are police psychics. Those are a little different. I have the ability to police the spiritual world. In other words, I can do things such as exorcisms, banishings, blessings, spell breaking, uncrossing, things of that particular nature. Anything that has to do with the metaphysical, anything that has to do with psychic ability or psychic fixation, I can deal with. Okay, and a lot of people say that there's no such thing as an expert in that field. However, they are wrong. I know of at least one of them, and that would be myself. I've been doing this for, well, about 30 years now, and I'm good at it. I teach classes in metaphysics and mysticism, and also in psychic phenomena and psychic development, along with psychic protection, along with several manual arts, such as martial arts, and manual arts, such as music, dance, painting, sculpting, that particular thing. But I'm a telepath. What many people do not know about telepathy is that it enables you to do a wide scope of things, not just be a jack of all trades, but be able to master a wide scope of things. And I have become pretty adept at a lot of things. Now, if you are interested in classes, I will begin by saying that you can contact us at Unicorn Cove School of Metaphysics. That will be www.unicorn-cove.com. or even Ask the Unicorn. That would be www.asktheunicorn.com. And that would also be, the number would be area code 207-347-5686. Okay? And we will be sure to cater to your specific needs. However, I do not teach for free. Any of you that have the illusion of thinking that I will teach for free, you are wrong. See, I operate under a universal principle, which means for everything that is given, there must be something given in return. Even in a capacity such as this, I am giving you the opportunity to ask your questions and have them answered, and you are giving me your attention, so there's a fair trade. And however, when I am teaching, that is my livelihood. This is not my hobby. I don't think it's very just cool to do stuff like this. I'm very grounded about what it is that I teach, and I know that it can be practically applied to a person's life on a daily basis. Now, that being said, we can move on. And one of the things that I do like to do is talk about independent film. And there are a lot of very wonderful independent filmmakers that are working very hard to bring you entertainment, and I would hope that you would be willing to back them. There's some fine films that are coming out this year by independent filmmakers such as myself, and that film would be Falcare, and there's also Paco Seth Roberts and Alan Dillingham. They are having two films be released this year, and that would be, one is called Wendigo Rising. I'm in that particular movie, and there's also one called Bad Kid. You might check out Bill McLean's How to Kill a Zombie, It's gotten wonderful reviews, and it is going perhaps worldwide. And you might check that out. That's Bill McLean, and that would be Freight Train Entertainment or Freight Train Films, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, Freight Train. But that is Bill McLean, and he is a very good filmmaker, and he's been in the business for quite some time. Yeah, Freight Train. So check him out. There's also Kevin DeBacco, and I'm sure he has a few films that are coming out. I can't tell you the names of them right away, but I will get them and then be able to report those next week. Now, last week we were talking about a few things. We were basically going into the area of dimensionality and quantum physics and also metaphysicality, which is what I really like getting into. And I told you all that I would continue that particular lesson and that particular talk this week. So what we were talking about is alternate dimensions, or dimensions that operate at the same time as this third dimensionality that we all live in. And we also got into time travel. We got into how doppelgangers appear and whether or not they're real, etc., etc., etc. Those of you that would like to continue that lesson, I'm all for it. So are there any questions at all?
Yes. We have a question from Ron St. Hilaire. He asks, why are my dreams always violent?
That depends on what it is that you're going through, and also your level of development and what it is that the universe is attempting to show you. For instance, you may have had a very, very difficult time at work, and in that particular case, that would be, just kind of clearing. Other times, you're thinking about something that you may have to confront, and it's just coming out in your dreams in that particular way. However, there are other times that someone is trying to send you a message and let you know what to do or what not to do. Okay, and this is what we call navigation. Dreams are for several reasons. I know that science likes to say that dreams are just a result of things that are going on with you psychologically and even physically, and to a degree that is absolutely the truth. However, there is also the truth that there are metaphysical means at work that are trying to assist you in your growth and navigation through your life. For instance, you're dealing with something where you're having violent dreams. You have to think about the turmoil that you're actually going through and think about what it is that happened in your dreams. This is why I tell people to always keep a dream journal, so that you don't have to write down the whole dream, but if you can just write something that symbolizes the dream so that you'll be able to remember it. And then try hard not to interpret your own dream. Okay, not at first. If you don't have any idea what you're doing, go to someone who does so that we can tell you what the symbolisms mean. Now, you're saying that your dreams are always violent. Is it you fighting something, or is it you fighting for something? Because it's always going to be one of the two. It's going to be you fighting against something or you fighting for something. And if it doesn't concern you necessarily, there's always that third-person perspective which says that you're watching someone else fight something or fight against or fight for something. Okay, so if you're doing a third person, that's something that's far off, which is telling you that it may apply to you in the future, or it may have applied to you, but it doesn't apply to you right now. However, if it's you, then this is something that we're dealing with right now. And depending on whether you're fighting for something, it can come out in a way that is violent, but it doesn't necessarily mean violence. Let's say that you're competing to get a job. Okay, and you're competing against other people and it's a really highly competitive position that you're trying to get. That can come out in the form of violence. It doesn't necessarily mean that someone's going to be violent with you. What it does mean is that it's set off into a competition, and the way that it filters through your psyche is that competition equals fighting for, which equals violence, especially when it comes to us guys. We don't necessarily get taught how to handle things in a very gentile way most of the time. We get taught how to use these, and if you're really good with them, that means you're worse off. Okay, so you kind of have to take things step by step. All right, is this something that I am dealing that the universe is trying to show me right now? Okay? Is it something that is close? Now, let's do that. If it's something that's very, very close, that's going to be in the near future, then it will be in color. Do you understand? This is just the way that it is. There are some people who say, well, I don't dream in color, but that's not the truth at all. They just don't remember what it is that they dreamed in color. If it's something that is far off, or something that just barely applies to you, or even peripheral, 9 times out of 10 it will be in black and white. It'll just be a mode of shadows, okay? But definitely, if it's something that's in vivid color, that means that there's either an opportunity or a warning that is happening almost immediately, okay? So we're talking about perhaps in the next month or so. Or you just got through something. Dreams are always to fulfill. They are to tell what's coming. They are to describe what is going on. Or they are to clear things out. These are what dreams are about. Now, if you do happen to dream something that is very, very negative, you can, in fact, change it if you remember what it is that you dreamt. I'll get into that later, okay? But to answer your question, it's because you're going through something, or you have been going through something that causes your dreams to filter themselves through in a form of violence. Now, let's think about violence, okay? Because sometimes what you call violent isn't necessarily violent. Other times it's nothing but that. Okay? So now we have to discern whether or not the dreams that you're having are truly violent, or did they just come off violent because you're not that type of person or you don't like to think about it. So there's a lot to this, which is why when a person comes in and asks me to interpret their dreams, I take them step by step through things to find out what's happened, why it happened, what needs to be changed, if anything needs to be changed, and whether or not it needs to be fulfilled. Okay, so that's because of something that you have either gone through, that you're now based on the way that you just said that. Why are they always violent? Means that they've been violent for quite some time, which means that there was an event that caused them to filter through your psyche that way. So we need to go back and trace the event so that we can release you from that particular point of trauma, or whatever it is that you're dealing with. Once that's cleared out, your dreams will stop being violent. Okay, so it's something trying to tell you what not to do, more than likely. Okay? And if you want a dream interpretation, I do dream interpretations, full dream interpretations, and you'll have to call me for that.
Nadine asks, I do not ever recall having a dream in black and white. I always remember my dreams and they're always in color. What does that mean?
As I just said, that usually means that there's an event that's either happening or applies to you directly. And other times it'd be because of your own mode of creativity. It's the way that you see things. If you have a very vivid imagination, it's more than likely going to come off in color. If you do not have a vivid imagination, then you're just kind of a monotone person or monochromatic person, then they're most likely going to be in either shades, or they're going to be in shadows, or they're just going to be in light, and you won't have much variation. So that's what that does mean. But most likely, because I know you, it's because of your creative nature, and also you have to have things happen for you very, very quickly. So usually the universe does talk to you that way. Hope that helps.
Maven and the Manbungo say hi.
Hello.
Hi guys. Andrea says, hi guys, I'm watching with my friend Natasha.
Hi. Hello, Andrea and Natasha.
And we have a question from Tanner.
Yes.
Skinner. He asks, are angels and demons more so a representation for living angles, sacred geometry, the parts that create the overall shape? Or are they conscious beings that remain in karmic cycles by choice, aware to vastness?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
They are part of a sacred geometry, but only in the construct of everything. However, they are living and conscious beings. There's a lot of mythological things about angels. Angels don't have genitals. That's not true. Angels don't have a choice. That's not true. And angels don't have free will. That's not true. Okay? And I'm just telling you the fact of things. there's a lot more to angels than we like to realize. We talk about angels very objectively and say things such as my guardian angel or my this or, the angel that does this. And most people have very little idea as to what those beings are that we call angels or what they allow us to call them, angels. And I will tell you this. If there were no angels, there'd be nothing that works really. By the same token, there are those things that are demons that have been blamed for a lot of things that they didn't do. Just like angels have been blamed for a lot of things that they didn't do. Understand this. There are a myriad of beings in between angel and demon. A myriad of beings. But they are all part of that sacred geometry. Do you understand? Everything is geometry. Everything is an equation. Everything is a calculation. Everything is an addition. It's all of those wonderful things that happen simultaneously. And if you can see the full design of it, which you probably can't because it will make your head explode, but if you can see even part of that full equation, you would be absolutely astounded beyond anything that you could possibly think that you would be astounded, if that makes sense. So how about we say it this way? Yes, they're part of the sacred geometry, but remember the sacred geometry is also aware and self-aware. Okay, so if they are aware and self-aware, then that basically means that they're constantly growing and constantly evolving and constantly creating and constantly destroying, which basically means that they will always be. And since they will always be, they have a life, which means that they are sentient beings. They're not our slaves. Neither they are dictators. Remember, there was a point in time where everything was one, and something happened to cause it to be a duality. And once it became a duality, that duality got interpreted and misinterpreted to light, darkness, good, evil, up, down, left, right, front, back, in, out, etc., etc., etc. But that did not change the fact that both sides were alive. And since they are both alive, that means that they are both hungry, which basically means that they took on lives of their own and they need to be fed constantly. So sentience? Oh, of course. Of course, they're very sentient. Is there equation between them? Oh, yeah, most definitely. There is no day without night. So, just to get you on a start, I hope that helps you out.
All right, when Bungo asks a question, he says, I came across some videos about King Solomon's magic. What is your opinion of this subject? Not opinion, but do you have any insight on this topic?
Well, King Solomon's magic, what they called magic, is a lot. However, King Solomon was also given the ability and gift to, we like to use stupid words like control, angels and demons. Actually, he had the ability to form a relationship or a bond with both. But then each of us has that same ability. The difference between us and them is that, and him, is that there was a point in time where he discovered his own mistake. It had nothing to do with God or the devil. It had to do solely with him.
Being human.
Him being human. And as magic is actually existent to this day, there are a lot of things that have been called other things, such as, what was the one? The Star of David, which is actually a seal of Solomon. And do you know that King Solomon in his temples originally had many, many depictions of goddesses, and they were destroyed with the whole patriarchal thing? And they still exist somewhere under the water. And I think it would be awesome to go and find them and put them back together again. I mean, King Solomon was someone who was known as the greatest or richest person ever to live, but Perhaps that's been like totally misinterpreted. Was he rich in gifts and spirit? Was he rich in physicality? Well, see, if he's rich in gifts and spirit, then physicality doesn't matter. So perhaps he was actually rich in physicality as well. And if so, what happened to his treasure?
It sunk.
Nah, I don't think it just sunk. I think it's been hidden. Not only has it been hidden, so many of his gifts, because of his own corruption, I believe that he did something so that no one would ever have access to any of the magic that he had access to. Remember, if you have the Midas touch and you turn everything into gold, isn't there a pretty good chance that you'll flip out and make a mistake and turn someone into gold that you didn't mean to?
Turn yourself into gold.
No, I think he would be immune to such things. I mean, if he got given those gifts, then there's obviously a fail-safe. There are many different versions of his story. One of them is that he cut off his own hand because of something that he had done. Could it have been that he actually cut off the hand that he was most repulsed by, or the hand that he did not believe that he deserved? But see, it's not about his hands, it's about who he is. So if we all have that particular ability hidden deep within us, because we are all somehow, some way related to King Solomon, then wouldn't it behoove each of us to find out exactly what we're about? This is why free will is so important. This is why you must always get to a point where you use that free will to determine or to make your alignment. Be you evil or be you good? Be you of light or be you of dark? Now understand that light and darkness don't mean necessarily good or evil. Evil is a very clear thing. Good is a very clear thing. And when you make that decision, that is when your free will gets accepted and used. From that point, every single thing that you do will be dictated by that particular choice. We like to think that, anything that we don't feel like doing, we can say stuff like, I have free will, so I don't have to do that. That's not how it works. That's not free will. That's just you being stubborn or just a choice. The bottom line is this. If we're talking about the magic of King Solomon, we're talking about something that is accessible to all of us if we have within us what it takes to find it and then use it correctly. I think that King Solomon's magic is very powerful and very present, very tangible. I think of magic on the whole as very real. It's not about whether you can manifest a fireball in your hand, just burn your hand. It's about certain things that need to be done. Are you willing to do it? If the universe calls you, are you willing to answer that call? And if you are, can you handle what you will have to do? Not only can you handle what you'll have to do, but can you handle what is given to you in order to do what you have to do? Magic, real magic, is a very deep and powerful and ongoing thing. You can't do one bit of magic without being expected to do the next bit of magic. For instance, if you are a person who can see and speak to those different disembodied spirits, understand this: if you do it once, they're going to expect you to do it again. And there's so many people out there that say things to me such as, well, I really don't want it though. I don't want to be bothered all the time. I want to just be able to do it once in a while, and then I want to drift off into La La Land and go to sleep. Seriously? People ask all the time, well, can you shut it off? Why the hell would I want to do that? Why? What? There's no reason for me to do that. If you have a gift, there's no reason for you to shut it off. That's ridiculous. And if you are somebody that even the what we like to call dead, excuse me, you guys, but even those people that are in the spiritual realm completely, if they see that you can talk to them and you can relay a message, they're going to expect you to. That's what it was given to you for. So use it. This is what this person has told me to say to you. Find a way to. You have to. When I see things, I can't go up to someone and say, you know, that dress really does make you look fat because the spirit just said so. That's not what I'm talking about. That's just me. What I'm talking about is you help someone out of a situation. Of course, the universe is going to come and say, okay, well, you know, this person hears us. So how about we give them another thing? Well, is he going to want to do it? I think he'll do what's necessary. And you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it. And then you say, well, I'm tired of doing it. There's no such thing as that. As long as you're cooperating, the universe will preserve you. In one way, shape, or form. Cooperate. So what is magic, really? Isn't magic cooperation with the universe, the ability to manifest that which is intangible into the tangible? Okay. That's the same as art. So art is magic, right? So you might say that King Solomon was the greatest artist ever to live.
Yeah, you could make gold sculptures just like that. Hey, you. Huh? Hold this position.
Did it ever dawn on you that many of the statues were actually people?
Yes. It's a neat story.
I know it's a neat story.
I have a neat story to share.
No.
Oh.
Next time.
Yeah, right. You think I'll forget.
Yeah, he will.
I probably will. I better write it down on my sticky note.
But I hope that helps you out. Next question, please.
Hold on. I have to.
What did you do? Stay on topic.
Trying to use my left hand. Okay, Lady Pendragon asks, I researched various spiritual topics for years, but never researched tarot much. I recently read a suggestion that it would be a good idea to meditate on each card for a various length of time, starting with the Fool card until you feel ready to advance onto the next card to gain greater insight to their meaning and imprint them into the subconscious. What are your thoughts?
Good advice. Good advice. You see, the way that I teach tarot is you have to earn your next card.
Yeah.
You get one card, and when I feel that you have properly interpreted that particular card from many different perspectives, then you'll earn your next card.
It's a lot of cards.
Yes, it is. And no, I don't just give it to you because you want it. Okay? If you can't properly interpret what each card means, that means that you're not capable of dealing with the cards. So why should I give you a tarot deck because you thought it was cool to do tarot? That was good advice. I would follow it if I were you. And then when you're ready to do some serious training, look me up. There, hope that helps you. Good advice. What's next?
Kayla, AJ, and Tanner are watching. Yes. Hi, guys. Tanner asks another question. Is the Christian mythology not just a creative interpretation of the astrological cycle?
No, the Christian, I don't like to term it as mythology, I'll call it belief, is based upon what people saw and what they truly believe. Some of them have great faith, and it's not so logistic as astrology. Astrology at one point in time was actually used to foresee events that led up to Christianity. Remember, Christianity was something that was formed, 600 years after Jesus actually was gone. You know, so what you're talking about is a belief. And that belief, like most things that energy is put into, took a life of its own. Now, it's really interesting that any belief that has to do with the existence of God or goddess or any of the Christs would out astrology. It just doesn't make any sense. Astrology is numerology, is vibrational frequency, is all of the divine sciences, is the architecture of the universe, and even what you were talking about, sacred geometry, is all part and parcel of the faith and belief in a higher being. Okay, it's really interesting. It's almost like having this religion that's a total double standard, you know. And I don't mean to say that Christianity is that, because if you're a Christian, if you're a true Christian, what that basically means is to be Christ-like, which means that you follow the example that the Christ left for you, not doing a lot of things that you see that the pseudo-Christians doing, finding every single excuse to judge people, tell everybody they're going to hell, using fear and oppression in order to get people to follow them, telling everybody they're going to be left behind in the rapture and God doesn't like them anymore. That's just evil. Okay, that's serving the other guy. I'm talking about something that doesn't go with logistics, something that actually goes beyond the structure of something. When you're talking astrology, this is what astrology is. Astrology is the very structural integrity of the universe. It is a map. Everyone has an astrological makeup. That's like a map to that person. And it's all based upon mathematics, or the movements of mathematics and dynamics, which is logic and logistics. Originally, astrology was called astrologic, okay? Or star logic, if you will. And what that basically means is how the stars and how the celestial bodies move, okay? So when you're talking about Christianity, you're talking about that which goes in the cup. Astrology is the cup. But what goes in the cup is Christianity. Do you understand? And in any other beliefs, such as Buddhism or what is it? Hare Krishna, all of those different beliefs, they all have to do with the ceremony and the substance that goes into the cup, just like our spirit is on the inside and pervasive of our physical bodies, which are biomechanical units, based upon astrology, among many other different things. Okay, so what we have to get away from doing is dividing, okay? Is it this or that? No, it's actually both. And when you get both, what you're talking about is quantum physics. The equation of quantum physics is 1 and 1 make 3. Okay? You add one thing to another, you get something totally different, or hybridized, if you will. So Christianity is valid. It is very, very valid. It follows an example, supposedly. Just like any other religion out there is very valid, even Islam. And you know, there are a lot of militant people that have done the wrong thing. That doesn't make Islam evil. Just like there are a lot of Christians that have done the wrong thing. That doesn't make all of Christianity evil, or Judaism, or any other belief. It doesn't make it evil. It means that there are people that just missed the point. So, to say something is mythology is to say that it didn't happen. Jesus was here. Therefore, it did happen. Regardless of what pop culture likes to say, and many people who call themselves atheists, they were atheists and they really wouldn't think about God at all, would they? However, to each their own. You believe what you choose to believe. And if you find power in that belief, I'm right behind you. Hope that helps out. What do you got next?
AJ says, I often wonder if the real treasure lost was the knowledge that was lost over time. The seals are amazing on so many levels.
True that. And that's one of the things that was lost. It's what even people like that really short guy who was just mad at everybody and tried to destroy everybody with a funny mustache. He was looking for those secrets. Couldn't find them. They were closed to him. Even the earth itself hid them from him.
And more than 44.
Oh, way more. Try 144,000. But that's a whole nother story.
And Gabby is watching.
Hello, Gabby. How are you? Remember the points of Solomon. 12 different points, correct? Take those points and multiply them. And tell me what you come up with. Anything else?
Nope.
Nothing else. All right. It sounds like you all have been thinking about your questions. I really like when you have good questions. I will address a couple of things. We are having a very interesting winter, and I find it really funny the quality of snow that we're getting. It almost seems very fake. Now I know that a lot of you have been keeping up with the whole chemtrail agenda and what's been happening to our skies. And if I were you, I'd pay a lot more attention. It's not right what's happening to our skies. It's not right what's happening to our weather. And it's not right what's happening to our food. So I'm going to give you all a little bit of advice since I just said food.
Food. I like food.
Try to eat better. Okay? Eat the things that you want. But
Yeah.
it's best if you find a place that cares about what it is that they're feeding you. There's some things that have been put in our food by, companies that dare to genetically modify food that should never be eaten by anyone. And this is just the truth. There's some things out there that are just, they're like softly killing you. Do you know what I mean? Just killing you a little bit at a time. There's just some really bad things out there. If you can find a way to eat food better, find places that are actually going to care about your food, I do recommend you seeking out a legitimate organic food source. Okay, I do recommend that. And if you can, stay away from processed foods. Stay away from I can't say their name, but there's some products out there that claim to help you lose weight that are filling you full of crap. Okay. Read your labels. It doesn't take anything to read you'll be astounded at what you find out. And in fact, I'd like to give you all an assignment. Human beings are only supposed to have between 2,000 and 2,500 milligrams of sodium per day, 24-hour period. Check out how much is in your food. Really. All right. And check out other chemicals that are in your food. Like carnauba. What? Carnauba is used in polished in wax cars.
What was the one that you guys were talking about? The crushed insects?
Oh,
make the
for
dye?
the red dye?
Yeah.
Well, it's not always used. Sometimes it comes from a plant. Those are people who are just a wee bit over the top.
But we have a phone call from Tanner.
All right.
Would you like to take it?
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. I'm good. How are you?
Good. So what's up?
So my question was actually the misrepresentation of Lucifer being portrayed as Satan instead of still retaining the title of Lucifer and being Lucifer, an entirely different entity itself.
Okay, so what is your question about it?
The question is that just a belief that stemmed off of it, like most cultures had done to downplay certain gods, goddesses in worship, they would destroy or turn them into negative beliefs? Was that what was done to Lucifer the morning star at one point, or was
Actually,
he always represented as fallen?
Actually, there was a point in time that Lucifer was not fallen, and that is when Lucifer was known as Lucifer. Okay. Well, now it's been totally villainized, and his name is wrong. However, I can tell you this: that person that was Morningstar is not a good guy. Okay. That's not a misrepresentation. However, the way that it was totally crackpot. Okay, let's go back to that whole story about Adam and Eve, shall we? Which was a total fabrication, but okay. Let's go back to that whole story. Do you know that the only person that was actually honest in the whole thing was Lucifer? You know, the only one that was actually honest. I mean, the guy said it was the woman's fault. The woman said it was the snake's fault. And the snake said, okay, yeah, I did it. Okay. So have we been told the actual whole story? Is it that it started off as a rebellion but if you look at the stories say that there's a great rebellion, right? But the story also says that the angels didn't have free will.
Yeah, that's what the story
Okay,
says.
that's what the story said. But let me just shine a little bit of light on that. Well, let me shine a little light on this subject. Now, what you have to be careful of doing is comparing the ancient story, which I mean, and I say story in the real sense, not made up story, but story, with how we like to think about things now. Because there's a whole point of philosophy that just excuses evil and says, well, you know, it's just the way that person is. Do you understand? So is it necessarily that he's not called Lucifer anymore because of something that he did? Or is it just made up? Or somebody just said, well, no, we don't want people to be free, so let's call this guy Lucifer. That's what you're asking me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's what I think. I think that person, once they fell from grace, got really pissed. They got really, really pissed and started doing some things to circumvent the system. That's what I think. Unfortunately, they got caught up in things. Now, what that leads, that should lead you to think about is whether or not that person can be forgiven. I believe so. I think so. I think that all that person would have to say, look, you know, I screwed up. I'm sorry.
Well, we have another caller. Sorry.
Okay, they'll have to wait.
It's Gabby.
Okay, hold on, Gabby. Okay, this is what I think. I think that if who we call Satan would go back into God, Goddess, whoever, and say, look, I realize I've been mad all of this time and I'm sorry. This is what I thought about things. And this is why I did this. And for all we know, that probably happened. But you have to remember what the other part of the equation is. Us. We make up all kinds of stuff. We come up with every single type of story ever. We blame God for so many things. We blame the devil or Satan for so many things, or we call him Satan. We blame Lucifer for so many different things. And 9 times out of 10, this is what I think Lucifer is doing and God is doing. You know, people say, well, the devil made me do this and the devil made me do this. And then, you know, God says, did you do that? Knowing that Lucifer is going to tell him the truth.
Yeah.
And, you know, Lucifer said, dude, I didn't have nothing to do with that. That was that person. You're the one who gave them free will. And look what they did with it. Okay, this is how I think about it. I think this all the time. Likewise, God wakes up in the morning and say, okay, let's see who I told to do something today. You know, so remember, there's always another equation. Now, I have had run-ins with those people that think that they were sent by Lucifer, or those beings that have been truly dark. I have met some. Now, by dark, I mean like evil dark. Now, as a child, I grew up being a telepath and knowing that I could very well be God or Jesus' son. But see, I was smart enough to understand this. If you say something like that, it makes it credible and possible that you could also be the devil's son. You know what I mean? So I've always given a great deal of thought to these things. That person that is Satan is not a good guy. However, you need to find out who that is rather than just throwing names around. There's so many people that throw around the term demon and angel, and you know they're way overused. So, no, it's not that complicated. This is the thing about the universe. The universe is not complicated. If someone does evil, then they did evil. If someone does good, then they did good. Does that make them good or evil? No. Because I know some really bad people that have done good things. And I know some really good people that have done some utterly screwed up things. So is it so much about the names of different things? Or is it about what it is that they do and what it is that they are? I would have to say that if we are identifying Lucifer, remember that Lucifer was in charge of praise and in charge of music at one point in time. But now he's known as the adversary. And that's all Satan means, really, adversary or against or enemy. That's not a name. Satan is not a name. Okay? Satan is merely an aspect. There are other aspects. What? Oh. Okay, so I hope I'm drawing a clear picture for you.
It's definitely always interesting to see another perspective.
Yeah, you know, you have to think about it. There's so many different perspectives. I can only tell you about my experience with him. And my experience with him has not been great at all. And yes, that person that I knew as Lucifer was pure evil. Personage, I'll put it that way.
The notion that Lucifer is the embodiment of the loss of innocence.
No, not loss. You see, loss means that something was lost. That would be the destruction of innocence. Because that's what Lucifer does, seeks to destroy. To destroy, to take. Yeah. There's a difference between loss and destruction. There's a huge difference. One of them can happen whether or not you plan it. The other one is an act, a deliberate act. Evil is never by accident. Remember that.
Yeah. I definitely appreciate that, Z, and I will have a lot to meditate and think over.
Awesome. Thank you for calling in.
I'll have more people tune in next time.
Awesome. The more the merrier. I enjoy the questions.
All righty.
All right.
Have yourself a wonderful evening, man.
You too. All right. Remember, you can all call in. If you have questions and you have any deep questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them to the best of my ability.
We have another question, and then Gabby, we have your question too.
Gabby, you can call back now.
Yeah. So in the meantime,
Gabby's in there.
Yeah. Whatever. Right. I might have to run and grab my charger. The cold is zapping my laptop battery.
Oh, okay.
AJ says, I have asked before about the air of different places. It seems like Z, if anyone would be able to explain it. I felt it before in the shadow of pyramids, ancient sites, even recently in an ancient earth mound. The air feels different. When I used to be a soldier, we had a joke about tasting the air. It feels different.
It's actually, you taste the air. You can taste the air. Sometimes there's this metallic, for something that's just bad about to happen, you taste it in the back of your throat like it has this rusty metal taste to it, you know, and it's palpable. So yeah, sometimes it is like that. The air does change based upon the energy. Energy dictates every single thing. Sometimes there's a stagnant energy. Sometimes there's a very violent energy. Other times there's a very cool energy. You know, I took people on courses that I was showing them how to look for power spots. And these are spots that would either resonate with you or not resonate with you. Do you know you walk through so many different cells or big cells of power spots daily, and sometimes those power spots can sap your energy depending upon what it is that you walk through. Other times they make you feel just totally vitalized. Now, I want to tell you what to look for. If you go to a place and the air seems just very dank or ground, kind of a brownish color, you know, just very brown and rusty color. My suggestion is for you to get out of that. Now, if you go to a place where the air is very green and a vibrant green, that will help you. That's actually a health point. Sometimes it's white, sometimes it's blue. Other times you can feel it. It feels like fine mist and it's rejuvenating down. And it can be very, very rejuvenating to you. You need to make sure that's charged.
It was charged. I'm sorry, the cold is zapping it.
Okay. Excuse us, we're having a little technical difficulty here. This is a new system that we're doing so to make sure that you can all, you know, watch.
No, the cold is zapping the life on my battery, on my laptop battery. Okay. I don't know.
There. There you go.
Retrograde.
Okay. So as I was saying, the air does change. There's a difference in air based upon what has happened there, where you are. Like, if you're talking about underneath the pyramids, I would imagine that the air there is very, very close. Very, very close. Like there's cells of air, but then they're like doubled. I know that you've walked into rooms where there's just pressure that just bears down on you. Other times it feels very wide. The air does change. For those of you that think that the air is the same everywhere, you're absolutely wrong. And sometimes if you're dealing with a spiritual presence, whatever that spiritual presence is affecting will affect the air. Like you walked into a place and there's just a bad smell, or sometimes there's a very sweet smell. It just depends on the energy that's occupying the air. You can change the air depending upon your level of what? It's not funny. Depending upon your level of development, you can change how the air is. Okay. But you're right. The air is based upon energy. I told people years ago that there's breathable air in outer space, and of course nobody ever believes you because I don't, you know, look like Sigmund Freud or anything like that. But the truth is, their air has a way of generating itself and regenerating itself based upon energy. It does change, and you do taste the air, and that's one of the smartest things that you can do. And believe me, I've been in situations in my life where it was good that I had the sense that I have. So I hear you, AJ.
He says, you absolutely got it.
Yeah. When you taste that metallic taste, you have an option. That means that there's something really bad around, or something really bad is about to happen. So you need to get out of there. Either get out of there or get ready for a fight. That's just the way it is. You know, it also happens when you're under a psychic attack. These are things to look for. If you get a very nauseating metallic taste in the back of your mouth, that means there's a negative energy around. You know, you can feel it. It just nauseates you. Other times, if you smell kind of a sewer smell, then that means, again, there's a bad elemental that is around. Or someone tried to do some bit of magic that went totally awry. You know, if you smell something very, very sweet and pleasing to you, that means that, stop her. That means that, just take it away. And don't fill the bowl before the ceremony.
I did not do that.
Lane, go sit down.
You falsely accuse me.
Okay. So keep in mind where you're at. I always tell people this: beware of your environment and those that are within your environment. Or as an old teacher of mine used to say, beware of your environment and your environs. Okay? Seriously. Because your environment is how you live, but those within your environment can affect your environment. All right. Hope that helps everybody. Any other questions?
Yep. Gabby was wondering if you could talk a bit about tones to open and heal chakras, specifically with Tibetan bowls.
Where's my bowl? It's not over there right now. Actually, I can talk about that. What time is it?
8:57.
All right.
Isn't it on your altar? It is.
It is.
You want it?
Yeah, why not? Tones, and we've talked about this in here before, which is vibrational frequency. You know, there are different tones that affect different chakras, you're right. However, you have to know what those tones are, you know, and no two people are the same. I know that there are a lot of things that say, well, this affects this chakra, and this affects this chakra, and this affects, no, it doesn't work like that for everyone. No two people are alike. You have to use different combinations of sounds in order to affect a person. Fortunately, this has been a saving grace to a lot of us because of what certain factions that I won't go into this week because we're almost out of time, have deemed it necessary to try. Sound can affect you and affect you profoundly, and we'll go into that next week. But I'll tell you this. I can use sound to heal a person. I do a technique that is called vibrational, that I call vibrational frequency, that I was taught by my teacher about 30 years ago, 30 something years ago, actually. Wait. Holy crap. 34 years ago. And, is that right? 1980?
Dude. 34.
34 years ago, and I've learned to perfect
35.
it. And thank you very much, Einstein.
Math.
I can recreate a person in sound. I can recreate a person in sound over and over and over again and surround them with that sound and effectively squeeze out that which is imperfect. That's how it works. I even had someone come to ask me about my ability and theory to do that, and I demonstrated for them. I can take your name, equate it numerologically and astrologically, and then take that equation and recalculate it and turn it into sound, and that would be effectively you. You know, so using that technique, if I could put you in the middle of all of those things that are you in your perfect state or your perfect state, then the one that is imperfect because of all of the pressure would actually be squeezed out, and thus you would heal. That's how it works. Everything is made of three things: light, sound, and mass. This is how it is. If you can take the sound of something and reconstruct it, or even extract the sound from something, you would cause it to deteriorate. It has to. It won't be able to hold together. And then you can reintroduce it new. Anyway, we are out of time this evening, but I will continue this next week. I'd like to thank all of you. Gabby, it's good to hear from you. I'd like to.
A few comments.
What do you have?
AJ says it's a hard thing to describe metallic, and I had an uplifting one also. And Kayla was asking about, is there anything else to look for in a psychic attack?
There's a lot to look for in a psychic attack. However, we are out of time, and we will actually cover some more things next week. So tune in next week. Please tell your friends and tell everyone to watch the show. I used to do an hour and a half to 2 hour show, and I'll do that again if I have enough people attending. However, it just is feasible for us to do an hour show. And I hope you all get as much as you possibly can out of it. Remember to write your questions down because sometimes you forget. Remember, I'll answer any type of question at any time. Now, before I do go, however, I have a campaign that is on Facebook right now that is an Indiegogo campaign that is called Daily Bread Low Sodium Bakery. Please contribute to it and tell your friends to contribute to it. There are so many people on Facebook and in other media that, you know, if you just gave a little bit, all of you together, I would be able to open that bakery. I will use only organic products, and I will use the very fresh products, and I will do my best to make sure that I'm also remedying hunger here in my community. And I plan to donate to weekly to food pantries and homeless shelters. So please help me out here. You know, I don't have millions of dollars, you know, and I think that people who do have millions of dollars and still allow there to be hunger in their community should have those millions of dollars taken away from them. You know, so I'm looking to end hunger wherever I am. And at the same time, I'm looking to open a wonderful bakery that people can come to and get things, mainly bread and muffins and cupcakes with pink frosting. You know, just saying different things of that particular nature. But I'll do my best. I've been experimenting with gluten-free flours, and I'm pretty good with those. But I'd like to actually go further into those things where I'm not using wheat eventually at all. You know, eventually, until they learn how to stop screwing with the wheat and other things. But please check it out. You know, you can check it out on my Facebook page. That's the Horizzi DeLisa page. Also, for those of you that are looking to take classes by Skype or in person, you can contact us at Unicorn Code School of Metaphysics. That's www.unicorn-code.com, or Ask the Unicorn. That's www.asktheunicorn.com. And also, what you might do is check out, for those of you that are paranormal investigators or looking to get into paranormal investigation, you can check us out at Unicorn Rangers, and that's www.unicornrangers.org. And that is how I'll be able to get some classes together for you and even your team. Okay, I've trained other teams and other people that are now full-fledged paranormal investigators, but they're good at what it is that they do. Now, you were going to say something.
Yes, that if you have questions, please send it to our website, www.asktheunicorn.com/ask-a-question. Yes.
Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening. We have a great time doing this show, and I hope that you have a great time listening to the show.
I like money.
So until next week, thank you all, and have a wonderful week. Be good to everybody. And Andrea and Natasha, it's wonderful to have you all. Gabby, it's good to hear from you again. And AJ, awesome dude. Yeah, we have to get together and talk. And Tanner, I'll talk to you soon. Okay? You all have a great evening. Unicorn out.
Good night.